Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. In this video, I'm going to take a look at the top 10 best Hearthstone decks after the United in Stormwind miniset and the last balance patch in United in Stormwind. The ladder reward packs for November are going to be fractured in Alterac Valley packs, so if you want some of those packs, it can be a good idea to climb the ladder this month. And if you have not climbed the ladder yet, then these are the best decks to climb with. And coming in at number 10, we have Aggro Shaman. There are several of these old decks still on the top 10 list, mostly they are at the later part of the list. The archetypes that got buffed by the miniset are rising to the top. Some miniset cards, they really make that much of a difference. But decks that don't use any miniset cards are still completely playable. The best of them are still around. They're still in the top 10. They're still above 50% win rate. You can still climb all the way to Legend. And Aggro Shaman is one of them. Just getting on the board with elementals early, then grabbing that Doomhammer and smacking some face, and that's all there is to it. And in addition to Aggro Shaman, Elemental Shaman is also still around. Elemental Shaman didn't get anything in the miniset, but the good old list is still functioning perfectly fine. It's a little bit more consistent than Aggro Shaman. You don't have as easy wins, but also you don't take as bad losses against some of the better defensive decks. With Elemental Shaman, it's just that solid, steady mid-range grind, and it still works. Paladin got some new toys in the miniset, but none of them were for the Secret Libram variant. But Secret Libram variant was also still perfectly playable. It is a little bit more aggressive than the Libram Paladin, it's a lot more aggressive than the hand buff Paladin, and right now all three Paladin decks are kind of playable. All of them are above 50% win rate. Hand buff Paladin is the weakest of them, it is not featured in this top 10 list. It's a little bit slow, but it's not super good at defending either, so that puts it in a bit of an awkward position. Although in Fractured in Alterac Valley, hand buff Paladin is going to get a lot of buffs, so we'll see how it goes there. Secret version, on the other hand, didn't get any new stuff, but it's just pretty solid overall. But the best Paladin deck if you want to play with Paladin right now is Libram Paladin. Libram Paladin got the Sunwing Squawker, so it got a little bit of something from the miniset. It's really good at defending against aggression, but it has its own weaknesses. In particular, the rise of the Quest OTK Warlock has been something that I did not really foresee with the balance patch and with the miniset. And it's a deck that makes life of some of these mid-range decks a little bit more difficult, because if you're not fast enough to kill it, well, they will have a win condition to beat you. It's really the dark horse of the ladder at the moment, and it's something that has kept Libram Paladin from being at the very top. Coming in at number 6 is Face Hunter, but this is Face Hunter very unlike the Face Hunter we had 1 month ago before the miniset, because with Doggy Biscuit, that means that more buffs are viable, so you run stuff like Arcane Anomaly into Doggy Biscuit, into Ramming Mount. Some of those early minions can suddenly stick on the board a little bit longer, they can actually get some damage in. But then he will still transition into the good old face hunting hero powers and trampling rhinos and spells. Just slightly more board centric for the first turns. Overall, a pretty fun deck to play and reasonably strong in the current meta. Coming in at number 5 is the real dark horse of this meta, and that is the Quest OTK Warlock returned. Obviously the balance changes made the game a little bit slower, and I thought that would enable more mid-range stuff. Mid-range decks are doing well. The ones that I predicted would be winners like Quest Rogue, Quest Warrior, they are doing really well, but this is a surprising challenger. Just blasting through the already nerfed Warlock questline, and still just completing that, drawing a bunch of cards from an empty deck, dealing all the damage to your face instead of their own, and boom. This OTK variant has surprising strength against many of the mid-range decks, although the best mid-range decks can go toe-to-toe with this. And then it has weaknesses against the aggro decks, but aggro decks are not super popular right now, so this has been able to climb the ranks. And coming in at number 4 is Aggro Druid, that is, if you chose Horde. Well, I chose Alliance, so I don't have Drektar, I cannot play the best version of Aggro Druid around, which is the Drektar version. Turns out that the Alliance Legendary is better for the memes, and the Horde Legendary is better if you want to win. You can also play Aggro Druid without having chosen Horde, you can play the old non-Drektar version. That's a little bit weaker, it would be a couple of spots lower in this ranking. But I'm presenting its decklist here at the same time, just in case someone who didn't pick Horde would still want to play with the Aggro Druid. Then we get to the top 3 and we start to get to the big winners of the balance patch, and one of the big winners of the balance patch, Quest Rogue. Yeah, Quest Rogue is now very good. It has some weaknesses. It has weaknesses against both of the good Warlock decks, it has weakness against Face Hunter, but it's strong against almost everything else in the field. The deck got a bunch of improvements from the mini set, and then the nerfs didn't hit it, it hit its worst matchups, so what's there not to like? Just questing, using that tempo advantage, blowing people away. And coming in at number 2 is one of the mainstays of United in Stormwind meta, the Quest Hand Warlock. We'll see how the meta is going to develop, because the Quest Hand Warlock and the Quest OTK Warlock are really in a struggle for determining who is going to be the best Warlock deck. When it comes to a mirror, the OTK variant actually wins, but Quest Hand Warlock has better matchups against something like Warrior, for example, which is the most popular deck in the meta at the moment, and the Quest Hand Warlock is less vulnerable to aggro decks. So, as it has been throughout this expansion, Flesh Giants and Battleground Battlemaster, they just work. In this deck, the inevitability with the quest is kind of a secondary win condition that you sometimes still get to go for, but most of the time you just let your big minions handle the job. Whereas the OTK Warlock is more one-dimensional, it's quest or bust. So while they both are quest warlocks, the playstyle does differ quite a lot. And coming in as number 1, the most popular deck in the game at the moment, almost 20% of people playing the game are playing this deck at the moment, Quest Warrior. It got a bunch of great cards in the mini set, first and foremost Mr. Smite. It was not touched with the nerfs. It's just a phenomenal deck. It doesn't actually have a ton of auto-win matchups, but what's so great about it is its consistency. Like, Quest Hand Warlock is pretty much the only really bad matchup for the deck, everything else you always have a chance. And it turns out that always having a chance can actually also be really, really strong. So, if you're looking to climb the Hearthstone ladder right now before Fractured in Alterac Valley comes, these 10 decks can really get you going. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and check out my Twitch channel.